All right, we're going to try to see what we can do to keep the focus on signing day here. I know we're in bowl prep as well, so we'll let Coach address bowl prep just a little bit as we start, and then it'll go into signing day, and then we'll take questions on signing day. And just remember, you're going to get him on Friday for bowl prep stuff as well. So, all right, Coach, go ahead.
It's been fun just getting back around the guys since we got off the road. I've had a couple of really good days in bowl prep and preparation for LSU. Love the way the guys have brought a ton of energy, ton of focus to the meeting room, what they've done out on the practice field, and we'll continue to build as we get through the end of this week and through the weekend before they get a few days off here for Christmas, and then get back at it when we get out to Phoenix here in a few days. So excited about what they've done and ready to continue to build towards game day. All right, with that, I'm going to open it up, or I'll make a statement here about recruiting as well. It feels weird putting the two together. Didn't have to do that last year. Huge day for the future of our program. Extremely excited about the guys that have chosen to be a part of the Knight family, and I couldn't be happier with the types of individuals that we're bringing in first and foremost. I think in the recruiting process, you watch the tape, the first thing you see is their athletic traits and what they can do physically inside of your program. As we get deeper into the recruiting process, once we get out on the road in spring, we continue to build relationships with those guys through the summer, and then we get them in on official visits. You really gain insight into who and what they are as people. How they're going to fit in our culture, how they're going to continue to create and build upon our culture, what type of teammates they're going to be, and ultimately what type of leaders inside of our program they're going to be. Couldn't be happier with the guys that we've gotten to be a part of our future. And I think we addressed some needs. A year ago we didn't sign many wide receivers. I think we got a great core group that we signed in this class. Elite speed across the board with those guys. I think athletically on the offense side of the ball, you look at the speed that we're bringing in, we're going to continue to have special players, and when they get their ball in their hands, have an opportunity to go make a bunch of plays. Defensively, love what we've done at the linebacker position and what we have started to do in this signing class on the defensive line. Both of those are areas of need. The athleticism at linebacker will be critical to our future on that side of the ball. Long athletes that have the ability to run sideline to sideline. They're physical. They play downhill when they're inside of the core, and special players there. Defensive line, athleticism, length, the ability to attack the other side of the line of scrimmage, to create negative plays, and ultimately recruit some pass rushers here as well, which will help us play the way we want to play on that side of the football. So with that, I'll open it up for some questions.
Coach, can you talk a little bit about one of the local guys you signed, running back to Marius Good from Lake Brantley, committed the other night?
Yeah, absolutely. A huge guy that we've been on since the very beginning of our recruiting cycle. Was here for our first junior day a year ago. We've had a great relationship with him throughout the entire process. Love what he brings as far as his hunger and desire to be great on the football field, but also just in his core who he is and how he's going to continue to create the type of environment that we want with our players when we walk through the glass doors into our building. He is a special, dynamic player. He's played multiple positions in high school. I love that he's played on the defensive side of the ball. He's had the ball in his hands as a running back. He's a kick returner. He's got elite speed. Physically, I think he's just touching, scratching the surface of what he's really going to be. He's 175 pounds right now. He's going to be a 200-pound athletic kid that is going to be dynamic with the ball in his hands.
Coach, piggybacking off of that, how important is it to focus locally? I know you had him from Lake Brantley, Raymond at Jones, Matt right up the road, and I guess you got another one from out in Melbourne just a bit ago.
Yeah, for us, I think, for me, this is a unique opportunity here for kids locally right here inside of our city. But really just in our map of what we recruit, everywhere else that I've coached, you had to get on a plane every single day to go recruit players to come to your university, to come to your campus. Our coaches are in their cars for the most part, recruiting kids that are going to be able to grow up in this area, come get a great degree in this environment here in Orlando, and ultimately when they are finished playing, and whether that's after their last game here as a Knight or they go play 10 years in the NFL, this is the area of the country that they're going to come back and live in. And the power of our degree being the second largest university, the power of our academic success with our football program, our student athletes are graduating at a higher rate than any other public university in the United States of America the last 4 years. Just the empowering nature of coming here and going through your college experience here is really special for me to be able to recruit kids to that. All right, but it's also really dynamic and life-changing for the student athletes that we're bringing in here. Last year when we had our first day out on the road, every coach was here in the city of Orlando, and a week later we were in the Tampa area. We want to continue to get to know the high school coaches, to really develop relationships with the players early in the process so that we're recruiting the right kid, but also open their eyes to what our brand is becoming and what it is. And it's important that here inside the city of Orlando that we do a dynamic job of getting out and developing those relationships. That's why we signed great players from the city this year.
You talk about that brand, and how much of the brand recognition was there, especially with the street, the New Year's Six Bowls? How much were the players?
When we talk to kids across the entire country, east to west, north to south, they understand and know the success of this program. They know the recent history, but there's a long track record. I think it's 6 conference championships in 11 years now. This brand is recognized nationally, coast to coast. They understand that you're playing championship caliber football. They understand that you're going to get to play in the biggest and best games in college football and have an opportunity to compete for a conference championship year in and year out. They understand that your stadium's packed with 50,000 and it's as good as atmosphere as there is in college football. It's a lot of fun being able to recruit to that, and I think that's why we're signing great players.
Looking at what you graduate, would you say defensive line was one of your biggest needs? And I know you can't predict, who's going to play, but I take it that's a position where guys, if they earn it, they'll have opportunities to play next
absolutely.
season.
You look at the number of guys we're graduating inside, guys on the perimeter. The defensive line is absolutely was a position during this recruiting cycle that was a position of need. I don't think we're done there yet. Today's still got a lot of daylight left in it. And certainly still signing day here in February as well. But that was a position that we had to have some guys that were going to be able to come in and make impacts, go compete, and earn a spot quickly on our roster.
Josh, did McKenzie's injury at any point maybe change a little bit of your thought process when it came to recruiting, maybe what you were going to look for in the future?
At the quarterback position,
Yeah,
you were saying? We want to make sure that we got a quarterback in this recruiting class. That hasn't been done yet, so we still got a little bit of work to do.
I know you can't make a comment about a player that hasn't signed yet, but wouldn't it be cool to get a kid from Hawaii that went to the same school as Milton to take his place potentially?
Yeah, it certainly would be special to have someone like that.
Early signing period, is it something you're a fan of, or
Wasn't in year one because I was 10 days on the job. I do like it. I think it fits the model of how recruiting has changed, here in the last, 10 to 15 years. The process is starting earlier with kids. It is a long process for everyone involved. When kids know what they want to do and are comfortable with it, I think it's a great way to end the process earlier. And, kids that are coming in mid-year, but kids are still that are waiting until June, it allows everyone to move on. I think it's important that, kids get a chance to enjoy their senior year. I think that's one of the things in the whole recruiting cycle, just getting bombarded with everything through social media to phone calls to texts. Allows kids, when they know what they want to do, to end the process and just go back to being a senior in high school.
From what you've seen in your evaluation, just how fertile in terms of talent is this area for high school players?
You talking about the city of Orlando, or are you talking about
Central Florida in general, from what you've seen?
As an outsider that had recruited this area, I think this is the most fertile recruiting ground in the country. There's tremendous athletes here, and I'm talking about from the southern tip of Florida all the way through the Panhandle into South Georgia. I think that's one of the most unique things about this program, where it's located, the traffic that naturally comes through this city, people on the Upper East Coast that vacation here, that come here, and kids that have grown up being in the city, having them have an opportunity to come on campus. It's just the most unique, location, or one of the best locations in college football, in my opinion. I think that is a huge part of why this program has had such a fast and high trajectory, and why the ceiling is so high for this program.
Every coach in the country talks about, hey, we want to compete for championships and whatnot, but to be able to prove it like you guys have done here, how big of a difference does that make on the recruiting trail? The guys,
It makes a difference. A year ago, the success that we had in building the brand was important. In me taking over in year one and our staff, what were we going to be able to do? And I think there were a lot of people that understood that this program was going to have an opportunity to continue to win championships. I think high school coaches understand the power of this program, where it's located, the ability to recruit great players to it, but to go out and prove that this is something in a program that's going to be around, in my opinion, for the rest of the history of college football. This is a program that just got started later than some of the older logos, some of the older blue blood programs. But to me, when you're building a program and you look at the powerhouses, for the most part, it is all based on where they're at regionally and their ability to attract great players. We sit in one of the premier positions.
How did you find the balance of preparing for the bowl and having to really push for recruiting at the end?
You push for recruiting first and foremost. You don't take anything for granted in recruiting. During the course of the day, when you have time, you're focused on starting your preparation, starting to put in some of your game plan for your opponent, for LSU. So that continues to unfold. You saw us out on the practice field today. We were on the phone with recruits early in the morning. If they needed to, coaches stepped out of a meeting and were able to have a conversation with the recruit as well.
Jordan Hayes, grad transfer from Duke, is he a guy that you hope can step in and can contribute with his year left?
Absolutely. I feel like he's going to have that opportunity.
How valuable is your assistant coach's eye for talent? As you mentioned, everything gets earlier and earlier. Can you tell when they're an 8th grade or 9th grade or whenever you guys start with?
We haven't offered too many 8th graders
Okay.
yet. And I'm not sure that we're going to do that. But when I say early, typically you may recognize some kids that are freshmen. Our coaches, because we're in the schools in every portion of the recruiting cycle, whether that's in May during the evaluation process or as we go back into schools in January, you get names. Coaches trust you. They'll give you some young guys that maybe you need to keep an eye on. We had camps here. I think we had like 1,500 kids through camp here. You get an opportunity to see a lot of those kids here on campus. I think that's one of the great benefits to recruiting in area, and not that we don't go nationally occasionally as well, but when you have a firm footprint of where you are going to be in every day of your recruiting cycle, you're able to continue to go back. You're able to see these kids work out. Because we're centrally located, kids being able to get here for camp and have another evaluation of those kids through the camp circuit. All those things, you gain a lot of knowledge of what their athletic traits are, but you also gain a lot of knowledge of how the kid's wired, how important is football to them, how competitive are they coachable, do they understand and know their body so that when you give them a coaching point, they can adjust. Those are all things that you're looking for and want in your recruits.
With UCF's young age as a program, we haven't seen many guys who've said, they grew up, as a fan, it was their dream school. But Matt Lee,
Starting to see that.
Yeah, starting to see that. Matt Lee, one of the offensive linemen, that was true for him. How cool was that? When you offered, I guess, back last summer, and for him to tell you like this was the school that he always wanted to go to.
It was a lot of fun to see him, how passionate he was, how much it meant to him once we finally offered. But you got a chance to see that when he was here at camp, and for his family to be so close to sitting in those stands every single Saturday afternoon, for a kid to realize a lifelong dream, it's a lot of fun to be a part of.
Can you talk a little bit about the wide receiver from Texas, Ryan O'Keefe? Looks like he's a fast guy. What kind of talent does he bring?
He is a dynamic playmaker. He's got elite speed, 10.4 as a junior, I believe. Coach Wyatt had a relationship with his high school coach. That's how we got his name. He was a kid that was extremely interested. For a national kid, he flew out here and came out in the springtime, got a chance to get around our players, see what the environment inside of our building was like every single day. and a kid that fell in love with that, and the opportunity to play, the style of offense that we have, something that really appealed to him. He's a highly competitive kid. He's played in all three phases of the game. Great returner, but plays on the defense side of the ball, has a physical nature, presence about him, loves to compete. This year, didn't have a quarterback, was asked to play quarterback, was dynamic with the ball in his hands. We want kids that are well-rounded, that are highly competitive, that are the best athlete in their high school, best athlete on the team, and because of that are playing multiple positions.
How much stock do you put into the success level of the program where you're getting a kid from?
That's not a final determinant. I think you do want to recruit. Not all your kids are going to be that way right now, right? You get kids that are in all different levels of the spectrum of maturity and leadership and those types of things. But I think it is important that a portion of your program comes in with a lot of those traits already ingrained in who they are. Their ability to compete during the off season, understanding what it takes to go be a champion, the type of commitment that you have. You want a good portion of your recruiting base to be team captains. Guys that have led in a great way and have accepted and thrived in those roles. So that when they come in here, they have some of those traits already, and then it's our responsibility to continue to develop those.
Time for a few more here.
How much do those star rankings for the kids and the rankings for them mean and matter in the long run?
I think, initially when the recruiting process starts and, their name first gets on those websites, it's important for them. To me, the great thing about what we do is we recruit based off of what we see, whether that's an in-person evaluation. We trust what we see on tape. We have coaches that have a lot of experience in recruiting and seeing how kids develop. I think it's important that you understand where they are in the maturation process. Are you recruiting a young kid, or is he already physically developed? It's not just where they are today, it's where they're going to be in 2 years and 3 years. And I think that's a big portion of recruiting, is understanding the development of where they're going to be, not just where they are right now.
How many different emotions do you go through on a day like this, or when it rolls around on February, whether it's excitement or relief or disappointment? Do you ride a roller coaster on a day like this?
No, I don't really ride a roller coaster very often. I couldn't sleep last night. I was excited about getting in the office and finishing the process with a good portion of the kids that recruited through this process, and excited about them wanting to be a part of what we're doing, them wanting to be a part of championships, them wanting to continue to develop this brand and this culture that we have, and so just really excited about who we were able to bring in. Today is always about the kids that you get, and to end that process with them this morning was a lot of fun.
All right, last one here.
So, Coach, did you go 1-0 with this recruiting class?
We went 1-0, maybe 0.5 right now. We still got some more things that may be happening later today and through the coming weeks.
All right, Coach, thank you.
Appreciate it.
All right, appreciate it.